Hello, this is Joe Kampmeyer, and this is my Module 12 presentation for the case study. Section 1 is to summarize and report the case. The location: the event took place in a small K-8 school named St. Regis. Who was involved? Specifically Mrs. Lynn, Mrs. Brandon, Mrs. Williams, and Mr. Sample. Other parties mentioned include the PTA and staff of St. Regis. What is happening? Mrs. Lynn, the library and media specialist, produced multiple copies of software and distributed them throughout the staff. The primary parties involved: Mrs. Brandon is in her first year at St. Regis. Mrs. Brandon felt uncomfortable using copyrighted material in her classroom and noted that at her last school, copyright violations were taken very seriously. She reported her worries to Mr. Sample. Mrs. Lynn, the library media specialist, who believes that she is doing the right thing and saving the school money. She knows that the PTA will back her up, as the PTA president assisted her with copying the material. Section 2 is to report any legal or ethical issues. Who has been harmed? The company who originally produced the software has been financially harmed as they have had their software stolen. The school district could also be harmed if the copyright violation were ever brought to light, and school culture may be harmed as a result of the conflict between Mrs. Brandon and Mrs. Lynn. Does the situation contravene an existing law? Mrs. Lynn was informed that she was in breach of copyright law. The actions taken were not in breach of contract. No one was discriminated against or harassed. Section 3. Synthesize exactly what has happened. Mrs. Lynn, the library and media specialist, was approached by staff and asked to make copies of newly purchased software for their classroom computers. Mrs. Lynn, excited about the chance to help the school, obliged with the assistance of Mrs. Evans, the PTA president. Section 4. Synthesize the facts. People involved: Mr. Sample, the school principal; Mrs. Williams, a teacher; Mrs. Brandon, the first year in the district as a teacher; Mrs. Lynn, the library and media specialist; Mrs. Evans, the PTA president; and other unmentioned staff. The place is St. Regis. It's a rural, underfunded school of 420 students. The program specifically is the computer lab at the K-8 level. Section 5. Review and prioritize the information. Could the situation be damaging to stakeholders or the community? The situation could be damaging to both stakeholders and the community. The copyright infringement could cost the school money, and the school is primarily funded through the community. Have all relevant stakeholders been consulted? No. The only stakeholders currently aware of the situation are the staff of St. Regis. The superintendent nor the board have been made aware. Can I learn more about the situation? I can consult specific state and district copyright policies. I can also look at the specific software agreements for more information. Do I know enough to make a decision? I know enough to handle the situation. I would still like to receive input from the superintendent and the school board policies regarding copyright. Section 6. Identify your options and possible consequences. I could take no action at all. This could end with the school in a copyright infringement lawsuit. This could also end with the school saving a bunch of money and no trouble at all if we never got caught. I could fire Mrs. Lynn for breaking copyright law. I could create a briefing for all staff, reminding them of copyright law and seeing if the problem stops. I could send a staff email containing an infographic on copyrighted work, or I could ask Mrs. Lynn privately to get back the copies and not make any more. Section 7. Evaluate your options. Taking no action at all could allow us to save the school money, allow more access for students. The negatives would be the possibility of a lawsuit, the tension already created by the incident, and the thought of knowing we were breaking the law. Firing Mrs. Lynn would undoubtedly make you unpopular with the staff, students, and community members. Holding a staff meeting with a focus on copyright laws. See if the problem works itself out with no escalation. I could ask Miss Lynn privately to get back the copies and not make any more. This could lead to resentment from Mrs. Lynn and the PTA. This could also shut the issue down at its least escalated state. A staff email with a generated infographic about copyright law. This could also lead to a problem working out itself without any real implications. This could also lead to the copyright law still being ignored. Section 8. Choose the best option. I would have a private conversation with Miss Lynn. I would tell her we could not make any more copies and that we must collect the ones that are already distributed. Explain to her that she had the student's interest in mind, and that is admirable, but we must not break the law. I would also meet with the superintendent and ask if any further action should be taken. This option would leave the most of the stakeholders unaware of the problem in the first place. The problem would be handled at the lowest level with the least amount of fallout. I believe that I have identified creative options, mainly by briefing all the staff at once. Section 9. Implementing decisions. First, I'd explain to Miss Lynn, although her heart in the right place, we must gather all the copies. Also explain that no more copies can be made. Next, smooth the situation over between Mrs. Lynn, Mrs. Brandon, and Mrs. Williams. After the pressing matter is taken care of, I'd brief the entire school on copyright infringement, and lastly meet with the superintendent and talk to him about policy. If there is none, begin to draft a policy statement to bring before the board. Did I promote the academic success and personal well-being of each student and adult? I promoted well-being of each student and adult by ensuring no adults made career-ending decisions and no students were forced to use illegal software. Did I provide clear evidence that their PK through 12 students are better prepared for college, careers, and life? I ensured by setting the positive example of proper technology use in the school, ensuring staff were updated on copyright law. Did I promote collaborative effort among key stakeholders? I tried to smooth things over between the teachers and make sure the copyright infringement did not cause a major career harm or repercussions. Did I support every student and or adult's learning and development? As a school, we made a computer lab a priority. As far as teachers, I briefed the entire staff on copyright infringement, and I believe that supports both learning and development. Did I inspire staff to pursue new, creative approaches for improving schools and promoting student learning? I informed Mrs. Lynn that her heart was in the right place, reassuring her that she had the students in mind, which is very important when looking for creative approaches at improving school. Thank you.